Good evening, everybody. Today we'll do Unit 1 of Block 3. We have already done this chapter once in very brief in Block 1. Today we'll try to we'll complete Allport, and then if time permits, we'll go to the second chapter, that is Kettle. They're very small chapters. We've already done them before, so I don't think it will take a lot of time. Okay, so let's start. So in the previous class and in the previous 2 to 3 classes, our main focus was on the theories, on the founding theories of psychology. Those theories of psychology which has actually built the discipline. So may it be psychoanalysis, behaviorism, cognitivism, or humanistic existential. So all of these are, you can say, they are the building blocks. Friends, 1 minute just. Yes, really sorry for the disturbance. Okay. So, yes, I was saying that in the previous chapters, we have done those theories which are the building blocks of personality, or the founding, which set the which set the stage for psychology to emerge as a discipline, and also to explain people in terms of those theories. Okay. Now, after we come to those, after we have done those theories, today what we are going to take up is the type and trait theories. Okay, or let's say trait and type theories. So this is not as you can say, this is not the founding, or this is not very popular types of theories as the ones we were doing in the last class or in the previous classes. But these theories give out a very easy way of classifying people, or easy way of classifying behavior. So that is why they are little, you can say, they're little easy, they're little handy, but still they don't present a very holistic view of personality. So first we will take up today we will take up two trait theories. As you know, we have been talking about traits ever since we've started this subject. So traits are basically, they are relatively stable dispositions of an individual that stay permanently stable throughout the lifetime, and it is through these traits we can infer about the person. We can know how a person acts and reacts in particular situations, etc. Okay, now again, there are two things here. One is the dynamic organization of a person, and the psychophysical systems of a person. So what is dynamic organization? So dynamic organization is, there are nothing exactly in a person is fixed lifelong. Okay, everything keeps changing. Even scientists say that your cells, your skin, they also keep changing. So like every 5 to 6 years, you're actually a new individual. So everything is temporary, everything is changing. Even the aspects of your personality are also changing. So that is the dynamic organization. Again, psychophysical systems will imply um, what are the psychological aspects, or what are the mental aspects of a person, like cognition, thinking, memory, or what are the structure of the mind, how the person thinks, how the person perceives something. All of that aspect also build up the personality. Now, uh, uh, while defining personality, Allport talks about character and temperament. So by character, he means it is some code of behavior by which a person is able to know what is good, what is bad, what is ethical, what is moral, etc. And by temperament, it's related more to your biological and physiological determinants. Like a person gets, let's say, very irritated, very moody. So this is all related to temperament. Now, uh, Albert talks about traits and personal disposition. So, for him, in his words, a trait is a predisposition to act in a same way in a wide range of situations. Like, let's say, in the last previous class, we were talking about under operant conditioning and under classical conditioning. We were talking about discrimination and generalization. So what does generalization mean? If the dog is salivating to a bell, he would also salivate to a buzzer. He would also salivate to any sound or any stimulus that is auditory. Similarly, traits, according to Allport, he says that trait is a predisposition or is like an internal makeup of the person, which makes him behave in the same way in a wide range of situations. See, suppose I do not like, my trait is of a reserved nature. I do not like crowd a lot, so I will not like a lot of persons um, on the road. I will also not like a lot of persons in the house. I will also not like a lot of persons in the park, a lot of persons, let's say in a marketplace, a lot of persons, anywhere there is crowd, I will not like. So see, the situations are not same, right? Because you're in one situation, you're talking about the park, about crowd, about marketplace, but your reaction or the way you behave in that situation which has crowd is similar. Okay, that is of irritability, that is of being uncomfortable. So that is what Albert means by trait. So he says that many stimulus may evoke the same response or many response. So it is basically very situation specific. Again, he published an article known as Traits Revisited, in which he talks of 8 basic defining characteristics of traits. So, which are, he says that a trait has more than nominal existence. So he says that trait, we just cannot think that trait is something which is very nominal or which does not play a very important part in a person's life. Rather, traits are very, very important, okay, because traits decide what choices you are going to make, what is the direction of your life going to be, how are you going to how are you going to deal with the people in your life. So traits may look very simple, but they're actually very vital. Okay, now trait is more generalized than a habit. Now this point is really important. They have tried to make a distinction between habit and trait. So they say that they've given a good example also. They have mentioned that every morning you brush your teeth, you, let's say, you have breakfast, you wash your hands, you have breakfast, etc., etc. So all of this is a habit because you do them every day on a regular basis. But how is a trait different? When lot of habits combine together, we can infer the kind of a person you are, and that is trait. So you wake up at a particular time, you have breakfast at a particular time, you leave your house at a particular time to attend office. All of this say that you are very punctual, or all of this say that you are very fixed about time. Okay, so every day I leave for my office around 10:25, 10:20 से 10:25 के बीच में. So I am very rigid about maintaining time. So your being rigid about maintaining the time is the trait, and everything you do to maintain that, or everything you do to maintain that flow is the habit. Okay, so Uh, then we come to the third point. A trait is dynamic or at least determinative in behavior. That means a trait cannot remain the same over the entire lifetime. Okay, that is why they are relatively permanent, relatively stable. So sometimes you also modify yourself to become better. Okay, so let's say you are somebody who is very fond of cleanliness. Now, every time you enter the kitchen or anything, you wash your hand. But like let's say somebody tells you that don't waste so much water. It's not necessary to do it. So you might just modify that. The cleanliness trait will still be there, but it will not be as strong and as intense it was. Okay, so trait is dynamic and it is determinative in behavior. Then a trait's existence may be established empirically. It means that we cannot observe traits directly, we can infer from their behavior. So basically what we do is we try to measure behavior. How do we do that? If we see a person doing any action repeatedly, if we study case studies, if we study biographies, etc., or we use any research, we use any statistical methods, so from this we can actually measure the behavior, measure the trait. Okay, so it can be established empirically. That means we will have some evidence for it. Then a trait is only relatively independent of other traits. So basically, traits are not completely independent of each other. At one or the other point, they will overlap because a combination of traits make up the human being. So no trait is absolutely independent of another. Okay, so they are there will be some degrees of overlap. Then a trait is not synonymous with moral or social judgment. So it does not mean that if you are having a trait, there should be a value judgment attached to it, or there should be a let's say a moral certificate or something to be attached to it, that okay, if you are doing this, so you are this kind of a person, you're not a good person, you are a good person. No, trait is just about what you are and how you behave, that's all. It is not telling about how good you are, how bad you are. That is our attitude, that is our perceptions that we have formed according to the social norms. Okay, and next is a trait may be viewed in light of either the personality that contains it or its distribution in the population at large. So we can actually know whether this trait is all pervasive, very common, or it is very rare. So let's say you would say that, see, like let's say kindness, it is a very common trait. You will find in everybody in varying amounts, but ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा कि somebody will not be, will not be kind. At least some amount of kindness will be there in everybody. But let's say a trait called secular, that might not be in everybody. Okay, some people are extremely secular. Okay, and just to prove that secularity, they will go to any ends also. Some people are not at all secular. Okay, and some people are in the middle of the, let's say, NDC. Okay, so now this is not a very pervasive trait because everywhere you will not find it. But let's say kindness, gratitude, that is very commonly found. Okay, or let's say aggressive, that's also very commonly found. So this again, how we actually view it in a larger population, this is what they're talking about. And last, my acts or even habits that are inconsistent with a trait are not proof of the non-existence of the trait. It just means that sometimes you have the trait, but they may be hidden or they may be latent. You might not have got an opportunity to show it. So अगर वो आपके हैबिट में या आपके एक्शन में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं कर रहा है, तो हम ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि उस इंसान में वो ट्रेट नहीं होगी. Hogi, but he has never got an opportunity to show that. Okay, so let's say a person is a very good orator, is a very good is a very good storyteller, but even he does not know that he's a very good storyteller because he never got a chance to express himself. But once he got a chance and he expressed himself, and he himself came to know that how nice he could tell stories, and even other people were impressed. Okay. So उसके बाद next we come to the types of traits as per Allport. So as per Allport, we have three kinds of traits. This we had also done before. One is cardinal trait, one is central trait, and one is secondary trait. So what is cardinal trait? It is the extremely pervasive trait by which a person is known by it. So let's say non-violence ke liye Gandhi ji is known, for aggression. Let's say Hitler is known for aggression, or let's say anything. For truthfulness, Raja Harishchandra is known. So that is a cardinal trait. What is central trait? Central trait is also important traits that, but they are a combination of traits and that make up the personality of a person. Okay, so you can understand that whatever traits we will use to describe a person, basically those are central traits. So this person is very generous, is very is very open to experience. This person is very, you can say, very learned, very inquisitive, very childlike, okay, very understanding, very caring. So these are the central traits. And what are secondary traits? Secondary traits are, they're less consistent, and they're less relevant, and they are very amenable to change. They can change, okay? They will not be, they'll not remain the same throughout life. So let's say this person likes coffee, or he loves to paint, but zaruri nahi hai that he will like to paint tomorrow also. That he might leave it. He might not feel very good about it. He might leave that, okay? So these are secondary traits. Then we come to common traits versus individual traits. So common traits are, in a given culture, almost majority of the people will have that trait. So that is a common trait. Individual trait are those traits that are very much personalized, and that is found less commonly. Okay, that is found less commonly in a particular culture. So those are known as individual traits. So the true personality of a person can only be known when the individual traits are examined, let's say from a person's case history, diary, letters, biographies, and other documents. Then we come to the proprium or development of selfhood. So Allport gave a word for self. Okay, so what is a self? Self is something that contains all the ideas about our own self, all the perceptions, and everything that we think about ourselves is the self. And in words of Allport, it is known as the proprium. So what is the proprium? Proprium is like, it is the, you can say it is accumulated beliefs and thoughts and emotions and experiences that a person feels about his own being. That is known as the proprium. Now, again, here he talks about he talks about two kinds of things. The first is, let's understand this. This is opportunistic functioning. So what is opportunistic functioning? Opportunistic functioning is something that motivates human beings to satisfy biological survival needs. Okay, so again, under opportunistic functioning, they can be characterized into three things. That is reactive, past oriented, and biological. Okay, so this is opportunistic functioning. So reactive to all those things, or to all those stimulus that you react, or that evokes a response. Second is past oriented, anything that is in your past and anything that also contributes to your functioning. So you have learned a defense mechanism, you have learned something that is helping you to lead or deal with people better. So that is your past oriented. And last is biological. Let's say you are feeling hungry, you are motivated to have food and then strive towards your goal. Okay, so this is biological. Then there is something known as propriate functioning. What is propriate functioning? You are functioning in terms to express your own self better. Okay, so that is propriate functioning. Now, this is again of three types: proactive, future oriented, and psychological. So in proactive, anything that is helping you to express yourself, and it is giving you more opportunities and conditions to do so. Future oriented, how you would act in the future, how you would look at something in the future, that is future oriented. And psychological is how happy, or how you can say how broad-minded opportunities you get, so that yourself is able to function better, you're able to express yourself much better. Okay, Now, these two things are very much important so that the self can develop opportunistic functioning and the proprietary functioning. And he says, and Allport says, that self continues to be used to represent the individual's unique features that motivate the person's behavior. And if you keep doing things that you really are, or that you really like, or that you really enjoy, that will actually extend your proprietary functioning. Now, what is basically the pro-prime? It is actually in two types. See, pro-prime is basically what you think about yourself, or it is yourself. Again, this is divided into two types. One is known as phenomenological and one is known as functional. So phenomenology always relates to experience. ये हमेशा याद रखना. So phenomenological pro-prime means whatever a person experiences, whatever a person goes through, whatever a person feels, whatever a person can understand, that I am a sum total of my experiences. Okay, so if tomorrow somebody asks you that what do you think about this, so you are just going to recollect some of your experiences and say, right? So that is phenomenological, when you are trying to feel the world around you, feel everything around you in terms of your experiences. Then what is yes. So next is what is functional. You can say what is functional proprium. Functional proprium is everything like apart from the experience, everything that is let's say very objective. You can understand, you can analyze things, you have a free will, you have a choice, you know what you want in life, you know where you want to reach. All of this is the functional. Okay, proprime sorry, I'm so sorry. Phenomenological is all about experience, and functional is about more of the present moment, more about what you have decided and how you have decided to reach your goal. Okay, now Allport considered the self having 7 functions. So what are the 7 functions? So when you are talking about yourself, you basically think about yourself in these seven parameters. Okay, so first is sense of body. So let's say if we are talking in terms of a body, your awareness of your bodily sensations. Okay, so you know that, okay, I am on the heavier side or I am on the lighter side. If I feel more cold, if I like summers more, if I like rainy season more, how does my body react to this kind of food or this kind of environment, etc. So awareness of your bodily sensation is what they're talking in terms of sense of body. Then self identity. So what is self identity? That is uh, using language, how you what you think about yourself, how do you identify with yourself, how do you identify with people, how do you let's say how do you think that you are distinct from others. So that is your self identity. Then self-esteem. So self-esteem is about your accomplishments, your achievements, your mastering the task that you have taken into your hand, etc. So that is self-esteem. Then self-extension. So what is self-extension? When you understand that you are not you are not the only person, or you do not only belong to a particular situation, or your role is just limited to something. You can be at the same time a son, a brother, a father, a uncle, even a grandfather. So your roles are extending, and even your self is extending. Okay, so this is what is self extension. And what is self image? Self image is um, the expectations and aspirations that you have from yourself, and how do you look at yourself. Let's say you're standing outside of your own body, and what is the image that you have of your own self? That is known as the self image. Then we have sense of self as rational coper. It means how do you use analyzation, logical reasoning, abstract thinking, etc., to deal with or to find solutions to the various problems of day-to-day life. Okay, so that is sense. of self as rational cooper. And last is propriate striving. So what is propriate striving? When you have known what you want in your life, what is the career that you want to take, what kind of a life partner you want, what is your idea of happiness, what is your idea of success, what is your idea of fulfillment. When you have come to realize these things, then you are actually striving towards having a complete and a holistic self, having a fulfilled self. Okay, so this is propriate striving. The next Allport talks about functional autonomy. So what is functional autonomy? Functional autonomy is um, basically you are independent from the burden of your past. Okay, so let's say you in your, when you suppose you entered into a job and you started you entered a job which was to do more with marketing. Okay, so you started with marketing, but slowly you saw that you are very much comfortable in the finances of it. Okay, you understand finance much better, and you really love to actually find out how to do this, how to do that, etc., etc. And then over the years you have now become an expert in handling finances rather than handling marketing. Okay, so functional autonomy says that right now at this point of time, you are somebody who's good in finances. I don't care how you came to this position. I don't care what has it got, what relation has it got of yours, with marketing. I'm not concerned with that. Whatever whatever had caused for a particular behavior to happen, that does not matter. What matters is today where you are and what you are doing. Now see, this is a very, very powerful concept. If you just understand it in terms of therapy, I'll just take a point and I'll just take a minute and I'll just digress a bit, but try to understand it in your life also. Now what happens, um, suppose some friend of yours had helped you बहुत साल पहले. Okay, and you are in a way in debt to her, या फिर you have a lot of gratitude towards her. After a year or two, things have changed a bit and she has become a little rude to you, and or maybe she does not respect you as she used to do, or something has happened and you feel that you don't get the same treatment as you used to get. But आप उसके एहसानों तले इतना दबे हुए होते हो, you think that I can never have any other relation with her other than that of gratitude. Because she has helped me, मुझे हमेशा, I have to always stay in that mindset. That is where functional autonomy starts. Okay, that is where you tell your clients, if they come to you for therapy, that see, whatever was in the past, it was for that moment. You are not supposed to be staying in that strings, or let's say in the chains of एहसान, whatever you say. Okay, तो आपको उससे बाहर निकलना है, because जो हुआ जो नहीं हुआ, whatever today what you are, you think about that. Okay, so if a person is misbehaving with you and it is not making you happy, but you are still trying to be you're still trying to tolerate that behavior, expecting that things will change, it will actually not change. Okay, it will keep adding on. So functional autonomy is at any point of time you can have a new start. Okay, you don't have to think about the past. Any point in time you have to think about the here right now, and you are aware of it, and you can start from here, again in a fresh way, right? So that is functional autonomy. Is very, very powerful concept. If you can understand, you can also make others understand who keep on reeling in the past and who always feel ki I cannot do it. So breaking the chains of learned helplessness, let's say, would be functional autonomy when you're actually moving forward. Okay. Yes. Now, next we come to what are the types of functional autonomy. So again, there are two types of functional autonomy. One is preservative functional autonomy and one is proprietary functional autonomy. So preservative functional autonomy, this refers to the feedback mechanism, and this is quite biological. So it refers to the feedback mechanisms in the nervous system that are governed by simple neurological principles. So let's say you are you go to sleep at the same time, you wake up more or less at the same time, you also tend to feel hungry more or less at the same time. So why is this done? Because this in a way it preserves the functioning of your body. Okay, it does not dilute the functioning of your body. So to preserve this, the biological clock also has to keep moving in the same manner. So this is known as the preservative functional autonomy. Then next you have the proprietary functional autonomy. This is totally related to how you maintain yourself, how your self grows, and how can you be motivated for it, how can you be encouraged to it, so that there is a consistency to the person striving for a congruent self-image. Yesterday I was talking about congruence and incongruence, your real self and your ideal self. So proprietary functional autonomy makes sure that you are free from the burden of your past, and now you're striving for a new self, and this is motivating you, and this will maintain the consistency. Okay, so this is what is proprietary functional autonomy. The next is the mature personality. Now Allport says that a person keeps maturing throughout his life. We cannot just reach a certain point and say, okay, the person has matured now. It doesn't happen that way. It's a lifelong process, and it keeps on it is continuous. Okay, now the person who is mature, he is functionally autonomous and is also motivated by conscious process. He never dwells in the past. He knows whatever was in the past, it's gone, now I must start afresh. So he is motivated by conscious processes, and he is a person of here and now, right now, present. Okay, so again Alport says there are six characteristics or six attributes of psychologically mature adult. So number one, he has a widely extended sense of self. Okay, so this means that he understands that I am just not a boss in the office. This is just one of the roles I'm doing, but I am also a responsible father. So now I have to balance between work and work and between my child and his school activities and everything. I'm also a husband. I'm also a son. So they know that they have an extended sense of self, and they try to do justice to each of the roles that they are playing. Okay. Then second is they have a capacity for warm social interaction. So they like to get along with people. They like the personal warmth. They like intimacy. Also, they like compassion, and they have respect for others. Okay. Just 1 minute, friends. I'll get back. Yes. So these people, they have capacity for warm social interactions. Then they demonstrate emotional security and self-acceptance. So they have a very stable way of behaving with others. They have emotional stability. They know how to deal with their own emotions and emotions of others. They're emotionally intelligent, we can say. They don't make scenes out of small things, and they have self acceptance. However I am, I am good. I love the way I love myself. Okay. I love the way I am. So this is, they have a greater self-acceptance. Then the mature person demonstrates realistic perception, skills, and assignments. So definitely, this just follows from the previous point. If a person is emotionally mature, if a person is emotionally stable and understanding, he would never go to the extent of having any unrealistic aspirations, any unrealistic dreams to achieve, or illogical things. He would be very, very realistic, and he would know what in what skill he is efficient in, and he would take up those assignments which he knows that he'll be able to complete. So basically, they will not only be very realistic, they'll also be very high on self efficacy. Okay. Then the mature person demonstrates self insight and humor. So this just means, self insight means they know themselves very well. So many a times you would see, you would have one or two friends in your group. If you call everybody else and come for party, so they'll be too excited. हाँ हाँ यार मैं आऊँगा. But there will be one or two persons who would always say, नहीं यार मैं नहीं जाऊँगा, because मुझे पता ही है मुझे वहाँ कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं लगने वाला है. They will be so sure कि मैं जाऊंगा फिर से ये होगा या फिर से वो होगा, या मैं अगर this person will also come to the party, I will meet him or I'll meet her, और फिर मुझे अच्छा ही नहीं लगेगा, इसीलिए मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. They're so sure about how they are going to feel. They're so sure about how they are going to react. So they have a very good self insight. They know about themselves very well. Okay. Also, they have humor, so they are very much light-hearted, you can say, and they can they have the ability to laugh on their own mistakes, to laugh on their own self, and also enjoy this. Okay, and also cherish this. Then the mature person has a unifying philosophy of life. So what does this mean, unifying philosophy of life? So mature person, he knows that how to put all the experiences together and reap the maximum out of it. Okay, so let's say he has a set of principles, a set of values, ideas, and thoughts, how to put them all together, and how to actually help himself to grow. Okay, so this is what he has, a unifying philosophy of life. Everything he has been through, everything he has seen, he's trying to put them all together for betterment of his own self. Okay, so let's say I have been cheated by somebody. Instead of sitting and crying over it, now I'm using that experience. Again, I have done good for something, so I'm using that experience. Again, somebody is speaking bad about my cooking skills, I'm taking that also, and I'm trying to join all of this together and improve myself. Okay, so that is what it means by unifying philosophy of life. And last, my application. So what is the application? So now a unifying philosophy of a mature person is based on the values that he has, and he feels that his efforts to find meaning um, and find order and meaning of life is governed by values. Okay, so again, Allport identified and measured basic value dimensions, and he developed a test known as the study of values. And this is actually from this study of values, he talked about basically 6 values, and talked about that they develop as very deep level traits. Okay, so people construct the unity of their lives around these values, and these values are best described as deep level traits. Okay, so what are these traits? The first one is theoretical. So the theoretical value, or the theoretical deep level trait, is concerned with discovery of truth. Okay, and a person of this kind is seen as a rational, critical, or you can say an empirical person, and he has a very rational and logical outlook towards his life. Okay, and they tend to be highly intellectuals, and they like to follow a career in philosophy or in something that is more abstract, and it talks about various unifying forces of life. Then is the economic. So these kind of people, they tend to focus, or they tend to focus their value, or they tend to focus on things that are useful or things that are pragmatic. Okay, and they are highly practical people, and they're interested in making money. The third kind are the aesthetic people, and they place highest value on form and harmony. Okay, and every single experience they have, every single thing they read or they go through, they try to form a point of view on that, and they always try to see the beautiful side of it. Okay, so let's say you would always see in some manifestation exercises, if you ever read law of attraction and all those things, so they would say that every day before sleeping, try to find out 6 things um, that today that happened, and that those were very good for you. Okay, so or they will say something bad has happened, and you look at the positive side from it. So basically it is exactly what the aesthetic people do. Then the social. Okay, so these kind of people, they place their highest value on love of people, and they view theoretical, economic, and aesthetic attitude as cold and inhuman, and they think that love is only the suitable form of relationship, and everything for them centers around love. Then we have the political people whose main value is power, and they feel power, personal power, influence, recognition. They are above everything else. And the last one is the religious. These people, they are uh, more interested in understanding the world as a unified whole, or they think that everything covers up in one thing, that is this religious values. Okay, so they seek unity, and they feel that everything else has connection with this one supreme power, and they're very spiritual, and they always look for higher order things, or let's say some superpower. They are always their ideas are always revolving around a superpower. So Allport basically assessed individual differences and these relative strength of these 6 values by a means of a scale. Okay, so that is known as the study of value scale, and this was a test which had 45 questions, and it required 20 minutes to complete. So once you have completed this test, you can know out of these 6 points, you are which kind. Okay, so basically you are an aesthetic person, or you are an economic person, or you are a political person. This you can know once you give this test. Okay, so so they have also given an example that in the case of business students, they scored poorly on aesthetic value, and theology students scored poorly on religious value. So if they are business students, you can assume that they would score good on the economic scale. Okay, so this is this was the theory of Allport. So please go through it once. I don't think there will be any doubt, because it's pretty simple, and they have not given any evaluation for these theories, since I told you that these theories are not very popular, since trait and types, they just divide people into certain categories, and they just put people into those categories. Okay, so this was this. So tomorrow we will do Kettle. It's a very small theory. We will try to complete Kettle fast, and then we'll take up unit 3. So at least a part of unit 3 we can do. So if there's any doubt, we will take up. Otherwise, we will meet tomorrow. Okay. So I assume there are no doubts. So fine, okay. We'll meet tomorrow, and hopefully at the same time. Again, I'll put the time in the group around 3:30 or 4. Okay. So bye everybody. Good night. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye.